A new global outbreak has reached the United States, and it may not be long until we see lockdowns and mandates. They may come back as well too. In fact, China seems to already be setting a plan in motion as rumors are swirling that mandatory C-19 tests are coming back. I'm not making this up, folks. Will this lead to shortages in retailers like Walmart, Target, Costco, and like? Will we have to buy masks again? Will mandated vaccines and boosters make a comeback as well? I guess it's pretty easy to see why some lawmakers are trying to get a travel ban placed on China, given that we didn't really have that good of a time the first time around with the C-19 virus.
Senators are calling for an immediate travel ban between the United States and China until more information is gathered on the dangers of what they're calling a mysterious illness. Now, the list of Republican senators include Senator Marco Rubio and Rick Scott from Florida, Senator J.D. Vance from Ohio, Senator Tommy Tuberville from Alabama, and Senator Mike Braun from Indiana. The letter to the president reads in part, "We should immediately restrict travel between the United States and China until we know more about the dangers posed by this new illness. A ban on travel now could save our country from death, lockdowns, mandates, and further outbreaks later." The director of the CDC believes this mysterious illness is not new or novel, but rather related to existing pathogens like COVID, flu, RSV. Doctors say they're seeing a surge in a bacterium that can infect the lungs.
In northern China, we're seeing a lot of resistant strains of that bug, mycoplasma. You can treat that with antibiotics in children with Zithromax, but they've overtreated it with Zithromax in China, and that's led to a lot of these hospitalizations.
So far, the White House has not commented on this letter. The CDC continues to say that COVID remains the biggest threat this winter season.
I know it's a little bit touchy to ask about travel bans when it comes to foreign nations, so I'm just going to go ahead and ask this. Do you think that the White House would be able to make the right decisions this time around if a health crisis does appear? Comment a quick yes or no on that one, and while you guys contemplate that, please take a second, drop a quick like for the video. I really appreciate that, and consider subscribing to the channel.
An unexplained surge in pneumonia among children has appeared in a second country. The Netherlands has confirmed it's tracking a sharp rise in illness after China acknowledged a big jump in cases. Tim Lester reports.
Many disease specialists have been reassuring about China's new outbreak of pneumonia in children. Now, though, the outbreak is no longer confined to China. As parts of northern China struggled to cope with rising respiratory illness last week, disease experts elsewhere began to worry. A global infectious diseases watchdog cast it as an outbreak of pneumonia. It reported hospitals overwhelmed with sick children, classes on the verge of suspension, and a suspicion authorities were covering up the epidemic. It is safe to travel and do business in China, and there is no need to worry, China's foreign ministry spokesperson says. And many disease experts see the increase as predictable after China imposed some of the world's toughest restrictions to prevent COVID spread across 3 years, then lifted those restrictions last December. Yet similar to the rise in China, the Netherlands has now reported a marked jump in pneumonia cases in children aged 5 to 14. The number of cases in the age group almost doubled last year's number of cases. For now, the world is watching and wary of any repeat of the early days of the pandemic.
All right, so besides this whole travel ban, alarms are ringing all over the world because it looks like the C-19 prevention measure in China, they might be making a comeback. Now, if you guys remember, it was China that seemed to take forever to get out of this pandemic phase where we saw citizens being locked down in their homes without proper access to food and water, besides the avenues that citizens developed themselves. It was actually really terrifying to see just how much control a simple lockdown can give. And now, we just saw a video posted early December 2023, and it looks like a lot of what they had during the C-19 pandemic. This is Professor Tian Li, and he posted this clip where you can see him getting tested for what I can only assume is C-19. Notice though that the one testing him is wearing what looks to be like a hazmat suit and rubber gloves, stuff that we saw a lot of in China during the health crisis. Now, what sells it all though is that they have those plastic face shields. I mean, have you ever tried wearing those? I would think that it would be incredibly uncomfortable to have to wear that for an entire day. So the video though has supposedly been removed removed from Chinese social media. And you gotta wonder, why is that? It's not like they're gonna do that again, right? Or are they? This new mysterious virus is nothing to be scared of, though. Well, as far as we read and researched, we may have another big one on our hands. You see, this mysterious pneumonia seems to be spreading like wildfire. There's a supposed nightmare spread with this virus that's going around. Now, I'm not sure if this is being spread out to cause fear, to hype this thing up, or what, but we can clearly see the United States marked in red as a country that has been hit. Pneumonia in and of itself can be fatal if not treated properly, so you can understand why so many parents are actually worried since this is mostly affecting children. Now, if you notice, China is also marked red. Now, if you guys remember back in, I think it was like 2021, China's government actually told its citizens to stock up on essential supplies. Do you guys remember that time? This ultimately led to panic buying in their supermarkets. Heck, we even had our own experience with freaking TP toilet paper here at home.
You've probably been hearing, talking, and thinking about one particular bathroom item a little more than normal lately.
Getting, 100 rolls of toilet paper, that really didn't make a whole lot of sense.
That's exactly what most Americans are doing, with toilet paper sales up more than 100% from this time last year. Believe it or not, this isn't the first time a crisis has created a TP frenzy.
You know what else is disappearing from the supermarket shelves? Toilet paper. Ha ha ha, you can laugh now.
In 1973, that rumor sent panicked shoppers to, you guessed it, the toilet paper aisle. Therapists like Dr. R.G. Allen Wilson say herd mentality could be to blame.
We kind of don't really think about what we really need. It's just kind of what everybody else is doing.
And there's also what's known as zero risk bias.
In this situation, it's like I'm not going to have buyer's remorse. There's zero risk to buying all this TP.
Man, that was a trip, huh? Mix that in with multiple threats from other nations like Iran and, well, what's gonna happen next? Now, if you ask me, the main concern would be shortages. It's not just stuff like toilet paper, but food, medication, water, and like, we're already going through a drug shortage as it is right now. What happens when the White House suddenly hits the panic button and puts all of us in, I don't know, lockdowns again? Maybe we see items in Walmart, Target, or Costco be rationed because people are gonna try and start to hoard supplies again soon. Y'all remember that, right?
Hundreds of shoppers rush into a Los Angeles Costco this morning with this warning. Supplies are being rationed to keep up with the unprecedented coronavirus panic shopping. Customers run down store aisles at full speed and then quickly start loading up their carts. Within moments of this Costco opening, a sea of shoppers came back to this area where the water and paper goods are stored. Our camera crews were allowed exclusive access inside the store before it opened. This Costco is getting deliveries around the clock. As you can see, a lot of water and paper goods, and within an hour, all of this will be gone.
I don't want to alarm you guys. That has never been the purpose of any of my videos. I just want you to have a heads up. And that's a key word, if things go south, okay? If you want to prepare by buying a bit more of this stuff, a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that, then that's fine. I'm not telling you what to do. That's completely your decision. But if you think that this warning has any merit at all, then please share it to somebody that you care about. It's best to stay ahead of the bad times. But do you think that we should be worried? Or is this nothing more than just another C-19 variant that we should just pretty much, take note of, but not really lose our shirts over? Let me know what you guys think down below. And before I go, I want to thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for liking the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.